it's Christy. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to day 12 in my 2016 holiday card series. Today I'm going to be using this adorable set from Neat and Tangled called Santa's Workshop, as well as the Deck the Halls 6x6 paper pad by Echo Park. And I'm going to jump right in with my Copic Coloring today since we have quite a few images to get through. Starting out with my Santa, I'm going to color his skin with the E53 and then the E51. And then I'm going to move right over to my reindeer and add in the E55. So I'll use that for my darkest. I decided to color darkest to lightest today just to save time. So once I have my shadows, I can blend that out with the E53. And then I'll finish with the E51 for my highlight. I'll continue using the E51 as my darkest shade for the lighter portions of his body, so the insides of his ears and then that portion down the middle of his forehead and also his belly. While I have my browns out, I'm also going to color in my Christmas tree trunk. So I'm using the E55 for that and then just blending out with a little E53 for a highlight. Moving on to the reds, I'm going to use my favorite red combo, the R29, R39, and R59. So starting with his hat, I'm laying in my darkest shadows with the R59, and then I'm going to blend those out a little bit with the R39. And then I'll take my R29 and go back over that just a little bit and then fill in the rest, and that gives it a nice bright pop of color. I'm also going to use those same three tones for his jacket, so I'm just laying in the shadows against the side of his arms and under his beard and under his belt. And then adding in the R39, but keeping it really sparing on those darker two shades so that there's enough room for that nice bright red R29. I really love this Santa image. I just think he looks so jolly. Actually, all the images are just so cute. I've really been loving these Neat and Tangled releases of images that are drawn by Elena. So for his pants, I'm doing exactly the same, just putting that shadow underneath his jacket where it would be darker, and then blending out with the R39 and filling in with the R29. And just like with my browns, I want to be efficient with my coloring, so while I have those reds out, I'm going to jump around and color all the images that need red. So now I'm doing the little stripes on my reindeer's scarf, and also the stripes on my North Pole signpost. And using just the R29, I'm going to fill in the light bulbs that my penguin is holding. For my tree, I'm going to need to flip the images upside down because I want to flick in my color, and I find that I do that best upside down. So I'm starting with the YG99. This is a nice olivey green that looks great for Christmas trees. And then I'm going to add in some YG97, and I'm just shading from the top of each section, so it's where the shadows would be underneath the bottom of the previous section. I'm just continuing flicking in color now with the YG95, lightening that as it goes down towards the base where it would be in the most sun, and then finishing up with the YG93. For my penguin, I wanted to do something completely out of the box, so instead of using my usual warm grays or cool grays, I'm actually going to do him in a dark blue. So I'm starting out with my B99 and just laying in my shadows, and once I have those, I'm going to add some B97 and just blend that out a bit. Actually, I'm going to use quite a bit of that B97 because I want to keep him looking as dark as possible, and then I'll just fill in my last little bits of highlights with that B95. And since I was already out of my comfort zone, I decided to just continue in that vein and use the B93 for a little bit of shading on his face and belly. And then I'll blend that out with the B00. I also introduced a little B quadruple zero and then finished off with my colorless blender to just keep the middle portion bright and white. I'm going to use that original blue combo to also shade Santa's mittens, and I will use it for his boots as well. So his boots are actually facing two different directions. So the one on the right is going to get the shading on either side because the highlight would be in the center because it's facing forward. And the one on the left is facing off to the side, so it's going to get the shadow right under his pant leg and towards the back of the heel. I wanted my penguin's hat to be green, but I wanted to use some different shades than the tree so it would look more like a cloth fabric hat. So I'm using G28, G24, and G21 for the highlight. For the fur trim on Santa's hat and jacket and also his beard, I'm going to be using some warm grays. So W3 is going to be the shadows, and then blending out with a little W1 and W00. And I didn't even realize until after the video was completely filmed and I had already been done taking pictures of the card that I never colored in his little belt and the little white portion down the front of his belly. So I'll have to color that in after the fact, but I just didn't notice it. Getting back to the coloring that I did remember to do, I did also add a little bit of colorless blender in the center of those warm grays to keep the middle nice and white. I also used the warm grays to color the hat band and pom-pom on my penguin's hat and the white stripes on my reindeer's scarf. I also used the warm grays to color in my North Pole sign, the ball at the top, and the white stripes down the pole. For the snowballs, I'm going to use BG10 and then BG000. I'll use that for the snowman that the reindeer is holding and also for the snow on top of the North Pole sign. I used YR18 for the penguin's nose and for his little feet, and Y28 and Y26 for the star on top of the tree. I'm going to be creating a shaker card today, and I wanted to make a frame. So I'm using these Neat and Tangled scallop dies as well as a Lawn Fawn stitched rectangle die, and I'm just going to tape those into place so I can run them through my Cuttlebug. And then once I remove those dies, I'll have a nice little frame that I can use. And then from the center portion, I'm going to die cut a snowbank using the Lawn Fawn Stitched Hillside Borders dies. I'm also going to die cut my pattern paper with that same rectangle die. I wanted to add a little interest to my frame, so I'm taking some Lawn Fawn Mermaid ink and this flying snowball image from the stamp set, and I'm just going to stamp that out in a pattern all around the frame. To create my window, I'm going to take a piece of acetate and I'm going to glue that down using a little bit of Ranger Multimedia Matte. I'm just putting a very thin amount all around the inside of that frame, and then I can lay that transparency right over top and set that aside to dry for a minute. I've taken my background and stamped out "'Tis the Season," which is a sentiment included in that same set, and I'm going to glue down my snowdrift with some Tombow Mono Multi-Glue. I'll also be adding my North Pole sign and my penguin to the inside of the card, so this will be behind the shaker window. So I'm just being very careful to glue those completely down, but not add excess glue that will splooge out and get the sequins stuck on it. I'm adhering my background down onto a red card base. This is W+9's Cupid's Bow cardstock, and I just matted that with a bit of white cardstock so that if you see any of the edge through the frame, it's not going to be that red cardstock. It'll blend in better because it's white. And now I'm going to take my EK Success powder tool and just rub that all over the front of the card as well as along the inside edge of the foam tape that I put down. And that's going to prevent any static cling. And now I'm going to take some sequins from Lucy's Little Things. This is the Snowdrift collection. And I'm just going to add those to the center of my focal panel there. I'll also add in some Martha Stewart coarse glitter. So I'll just dump that right over top. Now I can peel the backer sheets off my foam tape. This is doubled up foam tape that I then cut down to size. And then I'll just take my frame and pop that right over the top of the card. And then I'll just press down, make sure that's adhered firmly, and then I can give that a shake. Now I can take my remaining images and glue those down with some Tombow Mono multi-glue. So I'm just taking the Santa first, and I'm going to pop him up on the right hand side so that the tree kind of fits right into that sentiment there. I'll take my little reindeer and I'm going to glue him down on the left hand side there, just a little bit out from the edge, right under the North Pole sign. And then I'll add my pile of snowballs right next to him, tucked behind his foot there. And that's going to complete our card for today. I'll give that another shake so you can see how that looks all done. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Shaker cards are always so much fun to make and definitely fun to receive as well. Thank you so much for watching. I will put a couple extra videos here on screen from my previous Christmas card series. If you'd like to give those a watch, you can just click on the video links. You can also click on my picture to subscribe to my channel for more videos. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.